God's loving call, an invitation to peace. You ever hear a voice inside your heart, soft, steady, almost like a whisper, but it speaks louder than the noise around you? It's not the voice of doubt or fear or frustration. It's the voice of someone who loves you deeper than you can even understand. That's God. He's not shouting over your pain. He's not scolding you for your worries. No, He's calling you tenderly. And today, He's asking, will you listen? His message isn't just another set of comforting words. It's an invitation, not the kind you RSVP to with your head, but one that asks for your whole heart. You see, God isn't distant. He's not far off in some unreachable place, waiting for you to be good enough before He shows up. He's already near, right now. And what He wants more than anything is for you to lay down what's breaking your heart and receive what could finally bring it peace. He knows you're tired. He knows the weight you carry, the worries, the sleepless nights, the silent questions you're too afraid to say out loud. But here's what He wants you to know. Your pain doesn't scare Him. In fact, He's already made a way to lift it from you. God is offering something this world can't give you, a peace that doesn't break under pressure. A love that doesn't disappear when you mess up. A presence that never leaves, even when everyone else does. And the only thing He asks in return is your willingness to let go. Let go of the belief that you have to carry everything on your own. Let go of the fear that maybe no one's really watching out for you. Let go of the pain that's kept you from trusting again. And in that space, He will meet you. Not with judgment, but with comfort, grace, and the kind of love that restores what life has stolen. So maybe right now, as you're watching this, God is speaking directly to your heart, not through lightning or thunder, just a gentle call. I'm with you. Come sit with me. Let me carry what you were never meant to bear alone. What if that whisper is the beginning of everything changing? God's presence, promises, and guidance. There's something deeply reassuring about knowing you're not alone, especially in those quiet, heavy moments when the world feels too big, too fast, too uncertain. And yet, that's exactly where God chooses to meet us, not in the spotlight, not in the noise, but in the stillness of everyday life. Every morning, before your feet even touch the floor, He's already there, waiting, listening, speaking in ways your heart can recognize even when your mind is still catching up. He promised He would never leave, and He hasn't. Think about all the times you made it through what felt impossible. The days you thought would break you, but didn't. That wasn't luck. That wasn't coincidence. That was grace. Quiet miracles you might have overlooked, but they were there, God's fingerprints on your story. And He wants to remind you of them now. Not to make you feel guilty for forgetting, but to give you the courage to keep trusting, because He hasn't changed. The same God who showed up for you then will show up again. But He's not just present. He's guiding you. When life feels tangled, when anxiety tightens its grip and your heart races with what-ifs, God says, don't look at the waves. Look at me. He's not saying your fear isn't real. He's saying it doesn't get the final word. There's a promise He repeats again and again in Scripture and in our hearts. No one can steal the blessing meant for you. Let that sink in. That means your story isn't derailed by other people's opinions. Your worth isn't measured by your mistakes. Your future isn't in the hands of circumstances. It's in His hands, and they are steady, even when yours are trembling. God's not asking for perfection. He's asking for honesty. He's drawn to those who come with open hearts, with childlike trust, with prayers whispered not from polished places, but from real pain. Have you ever prayed for your family, for your children, for someone you love, so much it hurts? God treasures those prayers. To Him, they're not small. They're sacred. And even when you don't see the answer yet, even when you're not sure He's heard you, He's already working behind the scenes. Blessing in ways you didn't think to ask for, providing more than you imagined, healing what you didn't even know was broken, And what touches his heart more than anything? Gratitude. Not the forced kind, not the I guess I should be thankful kind, but the real kind. The kind that says, even in the waiting, I trust you. Even in the silence, I thank you. Because faith like that moves heaven. You are not overlooked. You are not forgotten. In fact, God calls you his beloved. Not someday. Not when you finally got it all together. Now, right here, you've already been claimed, already been covered, already victorious in ways you can't even fully see yet. You are not just surviving, you are being shaped for something greater. And through it all, God keeps showing up. Not because he has to, but because he wants to, because you are his. And he's not done revealing just how deeply loved you really are. Living response, daily actions to claim peace. Here's the truth most of us already feel in our bones, but don't often say out loud. Peace isn't automatic. It's not something that just falls into your lap one morning like a surprise gift from a sky. No, peace is chosen. Peace is practiced. Peace is something we live into, one small act of surrender at a time. And maybe that's where we've been getting it wrong. We think peace will come when everything calms down around us, when the bills are paid, when the relationship is fixed, when the diagnosis improves. But what if peace isn't waiting at the end of our problems? What if peace is something God wants to give us in the middle of them? The good news is, God doesn't just promise peace, he shows us exactly how to receive it. And it begins with 3 small but powerful actions. 1, surrender your heart fully. Not just part of it. Not just the pieces you're okay with letting go of, but the whole thing. Let's be honest, most of us don't struggle with trusting God. We struggle with trusting him completely. We say we believe, but we still hold on to backup plans, just in case he takes too long or doesn't move the way we expect. We surrender our words, but not our schedules. We surrender our prayers, but not our control. But real peace, lasting, unshakable peace, comes when we say, God, even if I don't understand the plan, I trust the one who made it. That means surrendering fear. It means surrendering control. It means letting go of the idea that you have to figure it all out before you can rest. You don't. You were never meant to carry the weight of your own life alone. That's why Jesus said, "Come to me, all who are weary, and I will give you rest." That wasn't a metaphor. That was a promise. 2, spend quiet time in gratitude. This may sound simple, but in a world constantly screaming for our attention, the most radical thing you can do is be still. Not scrolling, not worrying, not planning your next move. Just stillness, quiet, presence. Take a moment every day to sit with God and say thank you. Not just for the obvious blessings, but for the ones you usually overlook. The breath in your lungs, the food on your table, the people who love you, the strength that somehow kept you going even when you thought you had nothing left. Gratitude doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means recognizing that even in imperfection, there is grace. Even in pain, there is purpose. Even in delay, there is divine timing. Some people wait their whole lives to be happy, hoping for the right circumstances. But the ones who live with deep peace, they've learned to be thankful in every circumstance. Because thankfulness isn't based on what's happening around you. It's rooted in what you believe about who's holding your life. 3, live with faith and loyalty. Faith isn't just believing in God, it's choosing to walk with him daily. It's easy to follow him when everything is working out. But what about when it's not? When the answer hasn't come? When the silence stretches longer than you expected? That's when faith becomes real. Faith says, I will still walk forward. I will still do the next right thing. I will still love people, serve well, and honor God, even if the road is uncertain. And that's what loyalty looks like. Not perfection, not performance, just consistent faithfulness. It's choosing every morning to say, God, I'm yours. Use me today. Shape me today. Walk with me today. You don't have to be a preacher or a saint. You just have to be present, willing, humble enough to say, "Yes, Lord," even when the future is blurry. Or maybe right now, you're wondering if it really makes a difference. If these small steps, this surrender, this gratitude, this faith, can actually change your life. And I'm here to tell you, yes, not overnight, not with fireworks, but slowly, deeply, unshakably, because the peace God gives isn't a mood, it's a foundation. It doesn't rise and fall with the news or your circumstances or your emotions. It's rooted in His character, and He doesn't change. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be open. Open to slowing down. Open to starting small. Open to letting God meet you in places you've been hiding from, even from yourself. Speech balloon, let me ask you this. When was the last time you fully exhaled? Like really let go of the tension in your chest and believed, even for a moment, that maybe you're not as alone as you think? What if God is closer than you realize? What if peace isn't something you have to chase, but something waiting for you to receive? It begins right now with a whispered surrender, a quiet thank you, and the decision to walk faithfully into today, no matter what yesterday looked like. God isn't asking you to be fearless. He's asking you to be faithful. And from that place, peace begins. Gratitude, the healing key to blessings. If there's one practice that quietly transforms everything, it's gratitude. Not the kind we casually mention at Thanksgiving. Not the thanks we mumble out of habit before a meal. I'm talking about deep, honest, soul-level gratitude. The kind that stops you in your tracks and changes how you see the world, even before the world changes around you. Gratitude isn't just good manners. It's spiritual medicine. And in a culture that constantly pushes us to want more, fix more, become more, it's gratitude that gently reminds us, you already have more than you realize. Think about this for a second. You woke up today. That breath in your lungs, that was a gift. That sunrise, that was a painting God made just for this morning. The people who texted you, smiled at you, remembered you, those were blessings. Maybe small, but real. The problem isn't that we don't receive enough blessings. It's that we move too fast to notice them. We scroll past them. We rush through them. We're too focused on what's missing to see what's already overflowing. But when you pause, even just for a few minutes, and begin to name what you're thankful for, something shifts inside you. Your heart softens. Your stress loosens its grip. And suddenly, what felt heavy feels a little lighter. Because gratitude doesn't change your circumstances first. It changes you. It clears the fog. It opens your eyes to what's already working in your life, even if everything isn't perfect yet. Light bulb, try this. Set aside time for intentional thanksgiving. This isn't about checking a box or being religious. This is about reconnecting with what's real and good in your life right now. Make space. Just 5 or 10 minutes. Get quiet and begin naming your blessings out loud or writing them down. Not just the obvious ones. Go deeper. Thank Him for the food on your table, but also thank Him for the ability to taste it. Thank Him for your job, but also thank Him for the wisdom you've gained through difficult seasons. Thank Him for your loved ones, but also thank Him for the strength you built in times of loneliness. And here's the beautiful thing. The more you look, the more you'll find. Gratitude multiplies. It doesn't just count blessings, it reveals them. You'll begin to notice things you've taken for granted for years, like the way the sunlight hits your kitchen window, or the way your dog curls up beside you after a long day, or the quiet peace that comes from just being held in God's presence. This is where healing begins. Stop sign gratitude heals what stress covers up. We live in a world constantly telling us to achieve, fix, improve. And while growth is good, it can also become exhausting when we forget to notice the beauty of now. Gratitude doesn't deny that you have challenges. It doesn't minimize your pain or tell you to just be positive. No, real gratitude says, even here, even now, I can find goodness. It's a lens that helps you see what your stress try to hide. That God is still moving, still providing, still near. It's like taking spiritual vitamins, quietly strengthening you from the inside out. And maybe the healing you're waiting for isn't something that arrives from the outside. Maybe it begins inside your own heart with a moment of sincere thanks. Scroll gratitude removes blindness. Sometimes we pray and ask God to bless us, but we don't realize He already has. We miss it. We get distracted. We compare our lives to someone else's and convince ourselves we're behind or forgotten. But when you begin listing your blessings, even the tiniest ones, it's like the fog lifts. You begin to see what's always been there. Gratitude sharpens your vision. It doesn't just make you feel better, it makes you see better. You realize you're not cursed. You're not empty. You're not behind. You're blessed. Even if it's still unfolding, even the ability to be thankful is a blessing. Let that sink in. The fact that you can pause, reflect, and give thanks, that in itself is grace. Because there are people walking through so much darkness, they can't even feel the flicker of hope right now. But you can. You're hearing this message. You're breathing. You're feeling. You're open. That's not small. That's sacred. So don't rush past it. Because when you make space for gratitude, you're not just being positive. You're participating in a divine exchange. You're giving God your attention, and in return, He gives you perspective, clarity, and peace. Gratitude unlocks blessings already around you. You don't have to wait for everything to be perfect before you can feel peace. Peace is already within reach. You just have to slow down long enough to recognize it. And that begins with a thankful heart. God's not looking for perfect prayers. He's looking for honest hearts. When you stop and say, "Thank you, Lord," even through tears, even in the unknown, He hears you. And He smiles, because that's what moves His heart. Gratitude. Sincere, humble, everyday gratitude. It's not flashy. It's not loud. But it's powerful. And it might be the very thing that opens the door to the healing you've been longing for. The power of words and faith declaration. There's something sacred about the words we speak. In the beginning, when God created the world, He didn't build it with His hands. He spoke, "Let there be light." And there was light. That alone should tell us something. Words carry power. Not just ideas, not just emotion, real living creative power. And yet, most of us speak without thinking. We speak fear without realizing it. We speak limitation. We speak defeat. We say things like, "I'll never get through this. Things never work out for me. I'm always stuck." And little by little, those words shape the atmosphere around us. They turn into patterns, beliefs, walls, chains. But here's the hope. If words have the power to trap us, they also have the power to free us. That's what God invites us into. Not just quiet faith, but spoken faith. Bold faith. Creative, life-giving, heaven-backed faith. Because when we align our words with His truth, we're not just speaking, we're building. Speech balloon, what are you speaking over your life? Take a moment to reflect. What's the soundtrack of your inner dialogue? When you wake up in the morning, what are the first words you speak to yourself? When something goes wrong, what comes out of your mouth? Are you reinforcing fear or releasing faith? Because the truth is, your words aren't just commentary. They're commands. They're setting direction. They're either planting seeds of peace or fueling fires of anxiety. God says in Proverbs 18 verse 21, the tongue has the power of life and death. That's not poetry. That's reality. You have the power to speak life, to speak hope, to speak healing into places that feel broken. And the beautiful part, you don't have to feel strong to do it. You just have to choose. Old key declarations are keys to breakthrough. What if your breakthrough isn't waiting in the distance, but waiting in your mouth? Every time you declare truth, especially when it's hard, you're unlocking something in the spiritual realm. You're shifting the atmosphere. It's not magic, it's faith in motion. When you say, "God is with me, I will not fear," or "I am blessed and highly favored," you're not pretending. You're agreeing with what heaven already says about you. And that agreement carries power. It strengthens your heart. It silences lies. It reminds your spirit that God's promises are greater than your present pain. Win face, speak life over dead places. We all have areas in our lives that feel dried up, dreams that seem lost, relationships that feel cold, parts of ourselves we've buried in silence. But God is the same today as he was in Ezekiel's vision when he told the prophet to speak to dry bones. Prophesy to these bones and say to them, "Dry bones, hear the word of the Lord." And as Ezekiel spoke, something wild happened. Bones came together. Flesh formed. Breath returned. That's the power of speaking God's word. Maybe your marriage feels lifeless. Maybe your finances are a mess. Maybe your self-worth has been buried under years of shame. But when you start declaring truth over those places, something shifts. This home will be filled with peace. My future is not limited by my past. I am God's child, and nothing can separate me from his love. These aren't just hopeful statements, they are weapons against despair. Shield, words build walls or weapons. Every day, you're either building walls that trap you or weapons that protect you. The enemy would love for you to stay quiet, discouraged, passive. But your voice matters. Your declarations are not about pretending everything is perfect. They're about declaring what is true, even when you don't feel it yet. They're about standing in faith when fear tries to sit you down. So speak it, even if your voice shakes, even if you're still waiting on the miracle. Say it. God is for me. I am not alone. Something good is coming. Let those words rise like a banner over your day. Sunrise each morning is an invitation. What if you started each day with 60 seconds of spoken truth? Try it tomorrow, before the texts come, before the news plays, before the world tells you who you are. Just speak out loud. This is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I am covered. I am guided. I am enough in him. Today, I walk in peace and purpose. It sounds simple, but that's how real change begins. Not always in big moments, but in small, consistent declarations of faith that reshape the way you live and believe. Let this be your daily practice. Don't wait until you feel spiritual. Don't wait until everything looks right. Start now. Start today. Speak life. Declare peace. Bless your home. Bless your body. Bless your journey. And every time you do, know this: heaven is listening. God hears you, and something is shifting. Your voice matters more than you know. And when your words align with his promises, nothing can stop what he's about to do. Studio Microphone Part 6, Hope and Eternal Victory. Sometimes life feels like standing in the middle of a storm, uncertain, overwhelmed, and unsure if the clouds will ever break. We pray, we wait, we wonder, God, are you still in control? And his quiet whisper reaches us through the noise. Yes, I have everything under control. That single truth changes everything, because hope doesn't come from perfect circumstances. Hope is knowing who holds the storm in his hands. Sun behind small cloud, God's assurance for the future. When God says, I have everything under control, he's not giving empty comfort. He's reminding you that nothing escapes his sight. No tear, no fear, no delay. He's already gone ahead of you. He knows the path. He sees the finish line, and it's glorious. But here's the part we often forget. Your attitude determines how high you rise. You may not be able to control what happens to you, but you can choose how you walk through it. You can choose faith instead of fear. worship instead of worry, gratitude instead of bitterness. And that choice, it unlocks divine momentum. Compass faithfulness unlocks miracles. Some of the greatest blessings are hidden behind ordinary, daily faithfulness. When you stay kind even when others are cruel, when you give even when you feel empty, when you pray even when it feels quiet, heaven takes notice, because God doesn't overlook the quiet, faithful heart. He rewards it. There's a reason Jesus said, "Well done, good and faithful servant." Not famous, not flawless, but faithful. That's what brings miracles. Prohibited sorrow and defeat have no place. There comes a time when you have to draw a line in the sand and say, "I will no longer live under the weight of sorrow and defeat." Yes, life brings pain. Yes, there are moments of loss. But you were not created to carry that sorrow forever. God is not done with your story. He's rewriting the ending. You're not meant to live stuck in survival mode. You were made for joy, for peace, for victory. And not just any victory, eternal victory. Crown your enemies will fall, and blessings will overflow. There are people, patterns, and forces that may have tried to steal your peace, delay your calling, or discourage your heart. But God promises this: no weapon formed against you shall prosper. That's not a cliche. That's a covenant. What was meant for harm, God will use for good. What felt like failure, He'll turn into favor. The very things that threatened you, they'll become stepping stones. And not only that, He says your blessings will overflow to your family, to your children, to your children's children. Your faith isn't just for you, it's generational. Hourglass not done. Decide today, who will you trust? There's no better time than now to choose. Choose trust over fear. Choose hope over despair. Choose to give your heart fully, not partially. God doesn't need you to be perfect. He's just asking for your yes. He's asking, will you believe me? Will you love me with all your heart? Because when you do, when you say yes with your whole being, He responds with wonders. Miracles you never thought possible. Peace that doesn't make sense to the world. Restoration in places you gave up on. Open book hope isn't wishful thinking. It's anchored in eternity. We often treat hope like a fragile thing, as if it depends on mood or headlines. But biblical hope is unshakable. It's not tied to what happens next week. It's tied to eternity. That means even when the diagnosis comes, the job ends, the relationship breaks, your hope stays steady. Why? Because your victory isn't built on circumstance. It's built on Christ. You're already standing in victory. Not because you fought harder, but because He already won. That's the power of resurrection. That's the anchor of eternal hope. Rainbow victory doesn't always look loud. Sometimes victory is quiet. It's the peace you feel in the middle of the storm. It's the courage to get up one more time. It's the strength to forgive. The choice to praise even when nothing changes. Don't wait for fireworks to define your win. Sometimes just not giving up is the miracle. Dove, God is not distant. He's right here. Maybe you felt alone lately, like your prayers are bouncing off the ceiling. But hear this, God is not far. He's closer than your next breath. He's walking through the fire with you. And He's not just going to help you survive. He's preparing you to rise. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are His. And He's fighting for you. Bellhop Bell, today is the turning point. Let this be the moment. Not just another message you hear and scroll past, but a moment you say, God, I give you everything. I trust you with my future. I walk in victory starting now. Because eternity doesn't begin after death. It begins the moment you say yes to hope. You were created for more than survival. You were made for eternal victory. And that victory, by faith, is already yours. Overcoming trials and restoration. There are seasons in life when it feels like the night has gone on too long, when your prayers feel unanswered, when strength feels like a distant memory, when even hope seems quiet. And yet, you're still here. That in itself is a miracle. You may be tired, worn, even bruised from the journey, but God sees you. And today, He gently calls you to rise again, not by your own strength, but by His. Broken heart, silent pain, invisible battles. Not all struggles are loud. Some are hidden behind polite smiles, unfinished texts, and eyes that avoid the mirror. You carry pain you don't talk about, memories you wish you could erase, questions that have no clear answers. But friend, listen closely. God has heard every silent prayer. The tears you cried alone, He saw them. The days you felt invisible, He stood beside you. The strength you needed but didn't have, He carried you through it. You were never alone, not for a single heartbeat. Shield, you now carry strength from faith. Here's the truth most people forget. The strength God gives is not the kind that makes you feel invincible. It's the kind that makes you get back up even after you've been knocked down. It's the kind that lets you love again, trust again, dream again. You may not feel stronger, but you are. Because the trials didn't crush you, they refined you. The fire that was meant to destroy you, God used it to shape you. And what you're carrying now isn't just pain, it's wisdom, compassion, power. Dove, 3 commitments that change everything. Sometimes we think overcoming needs to be dramatic, but most healing begins with small, intentional steps. Here are 3 powerful commitments you can make today. 1. Surrender your heart. Stop clenching your fists. Stop trying to control every outcome. God is not asking you to have all the answers. He's asking you to trust the one who does. Let go of fear. Let go of pride. Let go of the weight you were never meant to carry. Say to Him, God, I don't know the way forward, but I give you my heart completely. That's where healing begins. 2. Be genuinely thankful. This might sound simple, but it's revolutionary. Start a list of everything you're thankful for. The sunlight through your window, the breath in your lungs, the kindness of a stranger, the fact that your story isn't over. Even your ability to feel pain is proof your heart still works. Gratitude doesn't ignore pain. It repositions your heart to see the blessings that still remain. It's not pretending everything is okay. It's choosing to believe that something good is still coming. And when you do that daily, your heart begins to heal. 3. Share the message. You're not the only one who's been walking through fire. There are people all around you, at work, in your family, online, who are silently suffering just like you once did. Don't underestimate your story. Even if you're still in the middle of it, even if it's messy, it matters. Your scars speak. Your honesty heals. You don't have to preach. Just share your heart, your survival, your gratitude, your faith. When you do, it becomes more than a story. It becomes someone else's lifeline. Glowing Star Healing is already at work. You might not feel it yet, but healing is happening. Every time you choose to forgive, every time you pray, even when it's hard, every time you let someone in, every time you breathe deeply and whisper, God, I trust you. The wounds are closing. The scars are softening. The heaviness is lifting. Because healing is not always loud. It's sacred, gentle, daily. Fire God's power is greater than any obstacle. You face things most people don't know about, but none of it has been wasted. God specializes in turning pain into purpose, in taking what was broken and making it beautiful. The enemy tried to bury you, but God planted you. And now you're growing again. No mountain is too high. No heart is too hard. No past is too messy for God to redeem. He's not just restoring what was lost. He's multiplying what's next. Housed with garden, God desires to dwell in your heart. This isn't about religion. It's about relationship. God doesn't want to just visit your life on Sundays. He wants to live in your heart daily, to walk with you in the mundane moments, to sit with you in silence, to speak to you in the waiting. And when you invite Him into your ordinary life, He fills it with extraordinary peace. Not because everything's perfect, but because His presence is enough. Butterfly, rise up and walk with strength. So here's the call. Not to be perfect, not to have all the answers, but to rise, to get up again, even if your knees are shaking, to take one step forward in faith, to believe that restoration is possible, not just for others, but for you. You are not too broken. You are not too late. You are deeply loved, and you are not alone. So rise, not in your own strength, but in the strength He gives freely. Because the same power that raised Jesus from the dead, it lives in you. And that's more than enough. Divine wisdom, patience, and discernment. In the rush of life, it's easy to feel like we're falling behind. There's always another decision to make, another fire to put out, another voice telling us we need to move faster, achieve more, or prove ourselves right now. But what if the wisest thing you could do today is pause? What if God isn't calling you to do more, but to wait better? In a world that celebrates speed, divine wisdom often looks like slowness, stillness, patience, not because nothing is happening, but because something sacred is being formed beneath the surface. Mantelpiece clock, God is aligning things for your blessing. You may not see it right now. You may not even feel it. But behind the scenes, God is aligning people, timing, and circumstances in ways that you cannot imagine. It's like a puzzle with thousands of pieces, scattered, confusing, disconnected. But God sees the full picture. And while you're focused on a single piece, He's orchestrating the masterpiece. Sometimes His silence isn't absence, it's strategy. He's not delaying to punish you. He's preparing a path that's bigger than your request. So if the door hasn't opened yet, maybe it's not denial. Maybe it's divine timing. Balance scale discernment. Not every opportunity is from God. This one's hard, especially when you're tired of waiting. When something looks good, feels urgent, or seems like the perfect solution, it's tempting to jump. But not every open door is a blessing. Some are distractions dressed in disguise. That's where discernment comes in. Discernment is the ability to sense not just what's good, but what's God. It's praying, Lord, if this is from you, give me peace. If it's not, give me the courage to walk away. Because some shortcuts cost more than you think. They take your peace, your clarity, even your identity. When you move too fast, you can outrun grace. But when you wait with God, you walk in wisdom. Person in lotus position, avoid reacting from emotion. We've all been there, responding out of fear, frustration, or desperation. But emotional decisions often create spiritual detours. When you're angry, tired, or afraid, it's easy to settle for less than what you deserve. To say yes when you should say no. To act when you should rest. That's why wisdom requires space. Take a breath before you speak. Take a pause before you act. Take a moment to listen, not just to your feelings, but to God's still, small voice. You don't need to have all the answers right now. You just need the humility to wait for His guidance. Money with wings stay out of debt, not just financially, but spiritually. In the rush to get ahead, many people fall into traps of debt. Financially, yes, but also emotionally, spiritually, relationally. They invest in things that drain them. They commit to people who don't value them. They carry responsibilities God never asked them to carry. And before long, their soul is overdrawn. But hear this clearly. God never calls you into bondage. His wisdom leads to freedom, clarity, and rest. So before you say yes, ask, will this bring peace or pressure, freedom or fear? Debt in any form clouds your ability to hear God. But wisdom brings light to your next step. Shield, protect what God has given you. Not everyone who claps for you is on your side. Not every smile is sincere. Not every listener is safe. Sometimes wisdom looks like guarding your vision until it's ready. When God plants a seed in your heart, it's sacred. It's vulnerable. It needs time, care, and protection. So be discerning about who you share your plans with. Not because you're hiding, but because you're honoring what God is doing. Even Jesus didn't reveal everything at once. He knew when to speak and when to be silent. So should we. Seedling, trust the process, even when it feels slow. There's something beautiful about slow growth. It's deep, rooted, resilient. Quick success can vanish overnight. But what God builds slowly, He builds to last. So if it feels like nothing's happening, remember this. Roots grow before fruit appears. God is growing something in you first, before He grows something around you. And when the time is right, it won't be rushed. It won't be forced. It'll be right on time. Open book wisdom is a daily choice, not a one-time revelation. You won't always hear a voice from heaven. You might not always feel 100% sure, but each day you can ask for wisdom and trust that it will come. James 1 verse 5 says, "If anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to him." That's a promise. So whether you're facing a decision, a delay, or a disappointment, pause. Breathe. Ask Him, "God, show me what you see." And then trust His silence as much as His answers. Because the wisest moves are often the quietest. Sun behind small cloud, peace is found in patience. This is your invitation to step out of a frenzy and into the flow of grace. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to rush God. You don't need to panic when things feel still. Patience is not weakness. It's trust in action and discernment. It's how you move with clarity, not confusion. So today, slow down. Wait, not passively, but purposefully. Because the same God who started the good work in you, He knows exactly when to bring it into full bloom. Renewal of faith and spiritual connection. There are seasons when our faith grows quiet. Not gone, not broken, just quieter than it used to be. You pray, but it feels like you're whispering into the void. You try to believe, but your heart feels numb. You hear others talk about God like He's right beside them, yet you feel like you're on the outside looking in. If you've ever felt that, hear this clearly. God has not left you. In fact, He's closer than you realize. And now, this moment is your invitation to reconnect. Cloud with rain, your faith was wounded, not wasted. Life has a way of wounding our faith. Maybe someone let you down. Maybe a prayer went unanswered for too long. Maybe the pain you endured made you question if God was really paying attention. You didn't mean to drift away. It just happened. Little by little, hope got buried under disappointment. You stopped expecting miracles. You stopped listening for His voice. But here's the beautiful truth. Faith doesn't disappear, it waits. It waits in the quiet. It waits through the pain. It waits like a seed beneath the surface, just needing light again. And today, God is saying, "I'm still here. Come back. I never stopped loving you." House with Garden God is already in your home. You don't need to climb a mountain or travel across the world to find Him. He's already in your living room, in your hallway, in the silence of your morning coffee. He's been near when you cried alone in your car. He was there when you said, "God, I don't know if I believe anymore." And even when you didn't feel Him, He was holding you together. Your home is already holy ground, not because it's perfect, not because you've always been faithful, but because He chose to be with you right where you are. Speech balloon, you can talk to Him again, just as you are. There's no script you have to follow, no fancy words, no polished prayer. Just speak. Say, "God, I miss you." Or, "God, I'm angry." Or even, "God, I don't know what to believe anymore, but I want to believe again." He can handle your questions. He welcomes your doubts. Because faith isn't about pretending to have it all together. It's about bringing your whole heart, even when it's bruised. And when you do, that's when the connection begins again. Fire reconnection starts with a spark. You don't need to feel fireworks. You just need one flicker, a moment of honesty, a breath of surrender, a whisper that says, "I want you back, God." That spark is enough for him to fan into flame. Remember, he's not waiting for perfection. He's waiting for permission. Permission to come close again, to whisper peace into your anxious thoughts, to rebuild what was broken, slowly, gently, beautifully. Candle, even in sadness, trusts that he is near. Pain doesn't mean God is absent. In fact, some of the deepest moments of divine presence come in the middle of grief. He doesn't always remove the storm, but he promises to sit beside you in the boat, to hold you when your knees buckle, to speak peace over your chaos, even before it ends. Psalm 34 verse 18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted." So if your heart feels heavy, take courage. He is closer now than he's ever been. Sunrise over mountains, let trust rise again, even if hope feels faint. You don't need to manufacture big faith overnight. You just need to take one step toward him. Sometimes that step is opening your Bible again. Sometimes it's sitting in silence and saying, "Speak, Lord, I'm listening." Sometimes it's simply not giving up, not today. Your trust may feel small, but it's enough, because the smallest seed of faith can move mountains. And when trust rises even just a little, hope begins to grow again. Wrapped gift, he still has more for you. God isn't done with you. Your past didn't cancel his plans. Your doubts didn't scare him off. Your season of silence didn't disqualify you. You are still his beloved child, still chosen, still called, still covered by grace. This chapter you're in right now, it's not the end. It's a beginning of renewal, a chance to rediscover the beauty of childlike trust, to open your heart again, not to religion, but to relationship. And what you'll find is not judgment, not shame, but arms wide open. Musical notes, let your soul breathe again. You were created for connection, with God, with yourself, with others. But when faith grows distant, the soul grows weary. You stop singing. You stop dreaming. You stop feeling alive. Today is a day to breathe again, to let go of what numbed you, to welcome the presence that always welcomed you, to reconnect, not to performance, but to peace. You don't need to figure it all out. Just be still and let God remind you who you are and who he still is. Childlike faith and God's invitation. Do you remember when you were a child? Back then, trust came easily. You didn't need all the answers. You just believed. You laughed without fear of tomorrow. You loved with your whole heart, without hesitation. No overthinking, no hesitation, no guarded walls. Just open arms and simple faith. Somewhere along the way, life changed that. Broken heart, the world taught you to be careful. You learned that not everyone tells the truth. You experienced disappointment, maybe even betrayal. You trusted someone and they let you down. You prayed and felt like heaven stayed silent. And so, slowly, you began to protect yourself. You built emotional armor. You became cautious, guarded, careful. You still believe in God, kind of, but it's not the same. Not like when you were small, when you believed he could do anything. You used to sing without shame. You used to speak to him freely. Now, you filter your hopes. You measure your prayers. But here's the beautiful truth. God still sees the child in you. He sees beyond your adult doubts, your layered pain, your sophisticated reasoning. He sees your child heart, the one that used to believe so easily, and he's calling it back to life. Dove, God understands what life took from you. He's not angry at your distance. He's not surprised by your hesitation. He knows every heartbreak that shaped your silence. In fact, he grieved every moment you cried alone. He was there when your innocence was wounded. He saw when the joy left your eyes, and he never left your side. His invitation now is not a demand, it's a whisper. Come to me as you are. I've missed your heart. Blossom childlike faith is not naive, it's brave. Some people confuse childlike faith with ignorance, but it's not. It's not denial of pain, it's trust in spite of pain. It's the courage to hope again, even after you've been disappointed. It's the boldness to say, God, I still believe you're good, even when life isn't. Jesus once said, unless you become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom. He wasn't saying we should be immature. He was inviting us to become tender again, to stop hiding behind pride, fear, or overthinking, to start trusting with a soft heart again. Speech balloon, you don't have to have it all together. Children don't wait until they're perfect to run into their parents' arms. They just run, with scraped knees, with messy hair, with laughter or with tears. They come boldly because they know they're loved. You can come to God the same way, even if your life is messy, even if your doubts are loud, even if you feel completely lost. He wants you. Not a polished version, not a religious version, just your true, honest, open heart. Unlocked, let the walls come down. What would it look like to trust again? To let your heart breathe? To pray without overthinking? To dream without bracing for disappointment? Maybe today is your moment to start. To lay down your grown-up defenses. To say, God, I want to believe like I used to. And even if it feels small, that simple prayer opens a door. Because God doesn't respond to perfection. He responds to sincerity. Open book, remember what you knew as a child. You knew God loved you. You believed He listened when you prayed. You felt safe in His presence. You saw the world with wonder. You haven't lost those things. They've just been buried. And the Spirit of God is gently uncovering them again, breathing life into dry places, waking up the parts of your soul that have been sleeping. The child in you is not gone. It's just been waiting for permission to believe again. Light bulb, your return brings heaven joy. There's something powerful about returning. Not because God left, but because you remembered. You remembered the way it used to feel when your faith was alive. You remembered that God never gave up on you. You remembered that even through the darkness, His hand was guiding you. And when you return, when your heart softens again, heaven rejoices. Because this isn't just a mental shift. It's a spiritual rebirth. It's the beginning of a deeper connection than ever before. Footprints, a new journey begins with a small step. You don't need to leap. Just step. Step toward grace. Step toward trust. Step into a faith that isn't childish, but deeply childlike. Soft, strong, sincere. And as you do, you'll find God wasn't distant after all. He was waiting right here, arms open wide, whispering again and again, I love you. I've always loved you. Come home. Emotional pain and spiritual longing. There's a quiet ache many of us carry, one that no one sees but feels deeply inside. It's the kind of pain that doesn't always have words. It lingers in the spaces between smiles, in the silence of sleepless nights, and in the moments when your soul feels strangely empty. This pain is not just emotional, it's spiritual. It's the deep longing of a heart that's searching for more, even if it doesn't know exactly what that more is. Disappointed face the weight of silent suffering. Many suffer silently. We wear a brave face and push through daily struggles. But inside, there's a restlessness, a hunger for something that seems just out of reach. Maybe it's the loss of a relationship, the burden of regret, or the fear that things will never change. Maybe it's a loneliness so deep it feels like a shadow following you everywhere. This silent suffering is often misunderstood. People tell us to move on or get over it, but true healing isn't that simple. Herb the soul's cry for connection. At the core of this pain is a spiritual hunger, an unspoken desire to be truly known and loved. You may find yourself longing for peace that feels out of grasp. Or maybe you yearn for a sense of purpose that seems lost in the chaos of life. This longing is God's invitation. It's His way of calling you back to the source of healing and hope. Broken heart, when life's losses shake your spirit. Loss has a unique way of shaking us to the core. Whether it's the death of a loved one, the end of a relationship, or the loss of dreams once held dear, these experiences create a vacuum, in our hearts. In that vacuum, questions arise. Why did this happen? Am I still worthy of love? Is there hope for me? It's natural to feel disoriented when your world changes so suddenly. Folded hands finding strength in silent prayers. Even when words fail, your prayers do not go unheard. Sometimes the most powerful prayers are the silent ones whispered in the quiet corners of your heart. They carry your pain, your fears, and your hopes to God. Though you may feel alone, these prayers connect you to a presence greater than yourself, one that understands without judgment and holds you with endless compassion. Glowing star, the promise of divine presence. God's presence is not distant or detached. He is intimately close, especially in moments of pain and confusion. Psalm 34 verse 18 reminds us, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." This means you are never truly alone in your suffering. Droplet, allowing yourself to feel and heal. Healing begins when you allow yourself to feel, not to suppress or deny your pain. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel lost. These feelings are part of the journey toward restoration. By facing your pain with honesty, you create space for God's healing grace to enter. Dove, longing for peace and purpose. This deep spiritual longing is actually a seed of hope planted in your soul. It whispers that restoration is possible. It points to a future where peace and joy are not just distant dreams, but realities you can live every day. Trusting this longing can guide you through the darkness into the light of new beginnings. Sunrise, a new chapter of healing. You don't have to carry this pain forever. There is a path forward, a way to move from brokenness to wholeness. It begins with a simple step, reaching out to God with your true self, your honest questions, and your open heart. He is ready to meet you there, to walk with you through the valley and into the promise of renewal. The final promise, spring of blessings. Imagine standing beside a clear, flowing spring, water bubbling up fresh and pure, never running dry. This spring is not just water. It's a symbol of something greater, healing, renewal, and the endless blessings that God offers to those who trust Him. God's promise to you today is like that spring, an unending source of hope and restoration. No matter how deep your wounds, no matter how long you've wandered in dryness or doubt, His blessings are flowing toward you, ready to fill every empty space in your heart and life. Droplet, drink deeply from God's healing. Sometimes we try to quench our thirst with things that never satisfy. Temporary comforts, fleeting distractions, or even unhealthy habits. But true peace and healing come from drinking deeply of God's love. This spring is always available. You don't have to wait for a special moment or feel worthy enough. It's open now, right here, right now. When you drink from it, you begin to feel refreshed in ways you never expected. Your spirit feels lighter. Your worries start to fade, and the pain you've carried begins to soften. Herb healing is not just physical, it's whole. Healing from God isn't just about fixing what's broken on the outside. It's about restoring the whole person, mind, body, and soul. That's why this spring symbolizes more than relief. It stands for transformation. You don't just survive your struggles, you emerge renewed. You gain strength to face tomorrow with courage. You find joy in everyday moments. You begin to live with a new sense of purpose and peace. Glowing star, your faith has produced fruit. Even if it's been hard to see, your faith, your prayers, your hopes, your quiet trust has already borne fruit. You may not have noticed miracles happening around you, but God has been working in ways you can't always perceive. Maybe it's a subtle shift in your attitude, a new opportunity, or a sense of peace when chaos surrounds you. These are signs that the spring of blessings is flowing in your life. Dove, you are healed today. God's promise is clear. You don't have to wait for healing. It can start now. Maybe you've been waiting for a sign, a breakthrough, or a moment when everything feels perfect. But healing begins with a choice, a decision to receive God's grace and peace. Today you can say, I am healed, I am whole, I am loved. This declaration isn't just hopeful talk, it's a spiritual truth rooted in God's unchanging love for you. Sunrise, a new beginning awaits. When you drink from this spring, you're not just finding relief, you're stepping into a new chapter of your life. One filled with hope, possibility, and the assurance that no matter what comes, God's blessings will overflow. Your past pain doesn't define you. Your mistakes don't disqualify you. God's love and mercy erase all doubt. Speech balloon, what does this mean for you? It means you can release the burdens you've carried for so long. It means you can walk forward with confidence, knowing that God's grace is sufficient for every challenge. It means you are invited to live fully, to love deeply, and to embrace the blessings waiting for you. Folded hands receive the blessings. This is an invitation, a gentle call to come and drink deeply from the spring God offers. No matter where you are in life, no matter your struggles or doubts, His healing is available. Open your heart. Receive His peace. Let the blessings flow into every part of your life. The spring of blessings is here waiting for you. Will you take the step to drink from it today? A new journey with God. When you open your heart to God's presence, something remarkable happens. A new journey begins. This isn't just about a change in circumstance, it's a transformation deep within your soul. It's the start of walking hand in hand with the one who loves you beyond measure. God has entered your home, your life, your very being, and He is here to stay. No matter what storms come, no matter how dark the nights may feel, you are not alone. He is near, steady, and faithful. Glowing star, hope in the midst of doubt. There will still be moments when hope feels faint, when the weight of past hurts seems heavy on your shoulders. That's natural. The journey of faith isn't about perfection, it's about perseverance. God understands your doubts and fears. He doesn't demand you to have everything figured out. Instead, He invites you to trust Him one step at a time. Each day, as you choose to walk with Him, you'll find your faith growing stronger. Your heart will become lighter, and the joy of His presence will begin to fill the spaces where pain once lived. Healing deep emotional wounds. Life often leaves scars, deep emotional wounds that affect how we see ourselves and the world. But God's love has the power to heal even the most broken places. He gently restores what was lost. He breathes new life into weary hearts, and He transforms past pain into a source of strength and wisdom. This healing isn't always instant. It's a process, a sacred unfolding. But with God by your side, every step forward is a step toward wholeness. Dove walking a new path. This new journey with God is not about returning to old patterns or repeating past mistakes. It's about embracing a fresh start. It's a path marked by grace, mercy, and hope. A path where you learn to let go of control and surrender to divine guidance. You will discover peace in trusting God's timing and purpose, even when the way ahead is unclear. Speech balloon, a personal invitation. God's invitation is personal and intimate. Walk with me. Let me guide you. Trust that I have good plans for your life. No matter where you've been, no matter what you've done, this invitation is for you. It's a call to step into a life filled with purpose, healing, and joy. Folded hands embrace the journey. So today, choose to begin this journey anew. Let go of fear. Release past regrets. Open your heart to the possibility of transformation. As you walk forward with God, you'll find strength you never knew you had, peace that surpasses understanding, and a love that never fails. This is your new beginning, a journey of hope, healing, and endless grace. Are you ready to take this step? Because God is ready to walk with you every step of the way. The heart of God's message. As we come to the close of this journey together, let's pause and reflect on the heart of God's message to you. an invitation filled with love, hope, and purpose. At its core, this message is about unconditional love. God's love is not something distant or conditional. It's ever-present, faithful, and personal. He calls you his beloved child, someone deeply valued and never forgotten. No matter where you've been, what you've done, or how broken you may feel, his love surrounds you, ready to heal and restore. Faith and gratitude, the keys to miracles. Throughout this message, one clear truth shines. Faith and gratitude are the keys to unlocking the miracles God wants to pour into your life. Faith isn't just belief. It's trust, surrender, and loyalty, even when the path is unclear. It's choosing to walk forward with hope when fear whispers doubt. Gratitude opens your eyes to the blessings already present, the small and large gifts that often go unnoticed. When you cultivate a thankful heart, you invite more joy and peace into your daily experience. Gratitude heals the soul and shifts your perspective from scarcity to abundance. Flexed biceps restoration and identity. You are chosen and victorious. You are not defined by your past mistakes or your current struggles. You are chosen, victorious, and deeply loved. God's promise is that you are protected and empowered to overcome every obstacle. You carry within you a divine identity, a reflection of God's love and strength. This truth invites you to step confidently into your purpose, knowing that you are equipped to walk through life's challenges with courage. Man walking a call to action. Surrender, speak life, live gratefully. God's message is not just words, it's a call to live differently. It asks you to surrender fully, to give him your fears, doubts, and control. It encourages you to speak life daily, to declare faith and hope aloud, resisting negativity and fear. It invites you to live gratefully, embracing each day with a heart open to blessings. These actions create a life where miracles unfold naturally and peace becomes your constant companion. Sparkles the promise, eternal life, divine protection, and inner healing. Finally, God promises something beyond this life, eternal victory, divine protection, and deep inner healing. This is a promise that transcends circumstances and time. It is a hope anchored in God's unwavering faithfulness. When you walk with God, you are never alone. You are surrounded by grace, lifted by love, and guided by wisdom. Speech balloon, a lasting question. As we close, God asks each of us a simple but profound question. Do you believe and love me? Your answer is the key to unlocking a life filled with wonders beyond imagination. It's a question that invites you to trust, to hope, and to live in the fullness of God's presence. Folded hands in closing, take this message to heart. Let it remind you every day that you are loved beyond measure, chosen for victory, and called to a life of faith and gratitude. No matter where your journey has taken you, there's always a new beginning with God waiting to unfold. Step forward with courage. Speak life boldly. Live with a thankful heart. And remember, God is with you always.